This is the EWN Radio Network. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur with your host, Steve Kidd, third-generation minister and business coach. Join Steve and his guests to get answers to your questions and help break through to the next level in your business.
This is Steve. Welcome to Thriving Entrepreneur. What is the one thing you're going to do today to be a thriving entrepreneur? You know, we really appreciate every time that you tune into the show and every one of the shows that you listened to. And I want to inspire and encourage you today to live every day of your life as a thriving entrepreneur. So to do that, what I want you to do is go out right now onto Twitter and hashtag Thriving Entrepreneur, and then tell us in a word or two, what are you going to do today to live as a thriving entrepreneur? I know some of you that are close followers of Kathy and I know that we are very much in tune with the Abundance Now movement that Lisa Nichols has started, that it surrounds and is all a part of her book, Abundance Now, which you can get on Amazon or in bookstores. Hugely popular and successful book. But more importantly, it really helps us talk about the abundance in our lives, about how to live abundantly. And to help us out with that today, I'm actually joined by a wonderful man who I had a great conversation with. His name is Rock Thomas, and his whole approach in life is helping mentor people. He believes very strongly in mentoring and accountability. Now, what does this mean? It means that you have somebody in your life that's going to hold you accountable to the things, the goals, the expectations that you have in your life and in your business. It's so important for us to just not go it alone. I mean, you may be a solopreneur, but it doesn't mean necessarily, in fact, it shouldn't mean at all, that you are alone. And mentorship is one of the very, very simplest, most basic of those kind of things that I really encourage all of you to do. Like I said, that accountability really, really, really helps us have lifelong success, really live abundantly. And you know, like I said, that Kathy and I are very, very much into seeing you live in abundance right now where you are in your life. So I'm really excited to have our special guest here with us today, Rock Thomas, and he's going to talk to us today about mentoring and accountability. Join me in welcoming Rock Thomas. Hi, Rock. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. Very excited to be here, Steve.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. For the folks that are just now learning about you, tell us a little bit about who you are and what's got you to this point in your life.
Well, I guess I'd be categorized as probably a serial entrepreneur from a very young age. I'm your typical guy who cut lawns and shoveled driveways and hired all his friends to do a lot of that, the old Tom Sawyer story. But really grew up on a farm, learned how to work hard, and did that throughout my life. Had my first major setback when I was around 29 or 30. My father was ill with cancer, and I went through a divorce, and I ended up moving back in with my mother. And kind of had to restart after so many years of working hard. And then met a mentor. A year after that was a millionaire and helped me get to that status within about 4 years. And then I've just opened up multiple businesses since then, and mastermind groups, and traveled the world extensively, and 3 kids, and just really grateful to have had all those experiences.
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned, having met a mentor. Talk to us a little bit about how important having a mentor is to the effectiveness of your business.
You know, Steve, it became such an obsession of mine to look at that and see who becomes successful and who doesn't. And, you know, that studies will show us that 67 people out of 100 will set goals. 10 of them will actually make a plan, but only 2 will take action and follow through, which goes with the demographics of 98% of North Americans are not millionaires. It's probably just the 2 that take massive action. And I look back on my life and I realized that Probably the first mentor I had was the guy who taught me about communication and how to interact with people, kind of a Dale Carnegie kind of guy when I was 23. Didn't dawn at me at the time, but he was a huge impact. I was a shy, introverted kid, and he taught me some of the things you can do to bring yourself out of the shell and, you know, be interested in people rather than be interesting, as an example. But the second one, major one I met was a guy named Wayne Jordan, who was in real estate, took me under his wing and sold me his company and mentored me through the process. And I think there's three major things you get from a mentor. One is you start to believe that you can do it. So many people look out there and they go, I don't think I could do it. You know, it looks like it's really hard. Being really successful is for other people, so on and so forth. The second thing I think you get is you get course correction very rapidly. In other words, you don't send off down the trail for 6 months and realize that you're working with the wrong person or in the wrong business or with the wrong strategy, but you get corrected because you have access to the person on a regular basis. And the third thing is you've access to their wisdom, but also their network. So somebody who's 20 years older than you and has been around the bend a few times, they have the contacts. And that will accelerate your growth. So I think if you want to accelerate your growth, you're not where you are, and you don't have a mentor or a coach, that's the first place to look.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that having somebody that is further down the road than what we are, whether that be a couple of steps or way miles ahead of us, you know, is just key in helping us hopefully avoid some of the pitfalls, but at the very least, tell us, you know, what we can do to be effective right here where we are now.
Yeah, and you know what? I think a lot of people don't like to admit that they don't know. Our ego gets in the way, and we're supposed to figure it out. We're supposed to know and stuff like that, and then we forget to ask. And, you know, they say that you can be motivated one of two ways, from inspiration or from desperation. And I think in my case it was a bit of both, but I got desperate to the point that I said, okay, I have to ask for help. And hopefully it doesn't happen to people that can be smarter than me and they can do it through inspiration. But there's no question that if you look at anybody in any area of life, they all had mentors. Warren Buffett had mentors. They all had people that they subscribed to, and then they took it further, but they had, you know, they compressed time by not making mistakes through trial and error.
Well, and if you think about it, I mean, even to this day, you know, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett are a perfect example of two people that still come together and help sharpen each other, even though, you know, that financially speaking, there isn't anybody else that they could be mentored by. You know, they still learn from each other.
Yeah, definitely. There's no question. And you know, all the way back to the days of Ford and Edison and all these people and Andrew Carnegie, they all had mastermind groups that they were part of, and they shared information, and they became smarter for it. You know, two minds come together and a third mind is created. We never know what will be there. But you know, we have a mastermind group called Go Abundance. It's 100 millionaires and multimillionaires that we get together a few times a year. And we've now started a women's division called Go Abundance for Women. And what actually is interesting is that the women are a little bit better at connecting than we are. So we're finding that there's a huge demand. They want to get together, but they don't want to just get together with people who are, you know, the goddesses kind of mastermind. They want to get together with badass businesswomen that want to take their business to the next level, but live a balanced life because they still have families and other interests. And that's kind of the scope that we're heading into.
That's important too, to you know, not only be succeeding in business, but actually have a balance in your life. You know, I think sometimes we discount how much a mentor can tell us, hey, you know, what you really need to do today is take the day off and go on vacation with your wife.
Yeah. Well, we all have blind spots, right? And we get caught up in our own little conversations in our head and our own little fears and worries and thoughts and celebrations. And a lot of us are addicted to being busy, our phones and TV and emails and work. And before we know it, it's another week gone by and another week gone by. And if you don't consciously make the effort to be a better person, then, it's like, Steve, a year ago, how much further are you or somebody you know from 1 year ago? What progress have you actually made when it comes to the key areas of your life, which is generally health, wealth, and happiness? And most people will answer that question and say, not a lot. And I think that that's a pity, because a mentor will help accelerate that for you by holding the mirror up for you.
Yeah, it's so important. I mean, it's interesting that you bring that up, because Kathy and I were just talking, kind of reviewing the last year, and it almost doesn't seem like a year for us because of all of the major things that have happened, just during the course of this last year. It's hard to even imagine people who their life isn't exploding like that, and, with major changes and massive growth. So it's interesting that you said that.
Yeah, and it's, and then it comes to planning it forward. So 2016, how are you going to make that phenomenal? What are the things you're going to consciously do? Who are the people you're going to seek out? I think Charlie Tremendous Jones said 2 things will change your life: the books you read and the people you hang out with. So what are you consciously doing? What books are you seeking out? And what people are you seeking out that will impact your life? I'm going to be hanging out with Robert Herjavec from Shark Tank. So that's kind of cool. Last year I hung out with Robert Kiyosaki. We had him at our event. So we consciously go seek out people who are, hitting home runs in one area of their life, and then have them drip that on us and see how we can bring that into our little worlds,
Absolutely. So one of the reasons why I love doing the show is because I get to have conversations with such amazing people, without having to necessarily travel all over the world or be invited to be the speaker at, giant events. I've learned so much from all of my guests, from both big to small, and it's really cool for me to get to be able to, have a conversation with a Matthew Knowles and have him talk about the early days of Beyonce's career, or, Lisa Nichols and what it was like when she was working out of her closet, and things like that.
Yeah, well, that's you put yourself in a really great position, and you've got probably a huge network, and now you have also this touchy-feely thing on a whole bunch of success, and be interesting to see which ones you glom on and put into your life, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, you learn so much, and you walk away from every one of the things going, hey, I hadn't even thought about it from that direction. I really do hope that as you're listening, when I call out the name of somebody, whether it be Matthew Knowles or Rock Thomas or any of the other amazing people that have been on the show, I really do hope that you'll make a note to yourself and you'll go back and you'll listen to some of the other shows. I've been so blessed to have so many amazing people on the show, and I do it only really truly for one reason, and that's to be able to give you insight from people who have been there and done that, and as the saying goes, have the t-shirt, you know what I mean? They know where you're going because they've already been there. And that is so important as we thrive as an entrepreneur, is to have people in our lives that we can, as Rock said, we can glom onto. We can take what they have to say and we can be like, hey, you know what? That is for me. And we can really appreciate it. You are listening to Thriving Entrepreneur.
I'm looking for a certain kind of woman, and I think you know her. She's an entrepreneur that is highly connected, successful, significant in her own industry, and considered the go-to woman in her community. She's received so much from so many women in business, she's ready to give back to others on their journey, lifting as she climbs. Hi, this is Sandra Yancey, and I'm the founder and CEO of eWomen Network. I'm looking to connect with the woman I've just described who lives in your community so that we might have a conversation about how eWomen Network's proven success system can provide her a platform to elevate her success and ability to support women in business. Our international community of managing directors are influencing the speed of success for women in business around the world. If that sounds like something that you want to be part of or know someone we should talk with, send an email to managingdirector@eWomenNetwork.com. That's managingdirector@eWomenNetwork.com, and let's start the conversation.
Are you ready to be a celebrity expert in your field? Are you your own best-kept secret? Do you have talents you want to share with the world? Are you ready to be seen as an authority? Do you have a message you need to share with the world? You know to your core you can help people if you could just reach them. Kathy and I want to help you share your unique brilliance with the world. Are you ready for this? How would you like to be recognized on top media outlets? What would becoming an Amazon bestseller do for your business? How many people could you inspire? And it doesn't take a lifetime. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take months. In fact, in just 60 minutes, you will become a celebrity expert in your field. In 30 days, you will be a best-selling author, and you will be seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox, and the Wall Street Journal. How does this work? Well, you'll be interviewed on our show, Thriving Entrepreneur, which will then be broadcast on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, Stitcher, and many others, as well as promoted to a network that has a database of over 500,000 people. Your expert interview will be published in your very own book, which is guaranteed to hit best-selling author status on Amazon. Your name and the book title will appear in major media outlets, including ABC, NBC, Fox, CNN. We can guarantee that. Plus, as a bonus, you'll get a custom social media package to promote your book and an MP3 of your interview with 5 key tips on how you can repurpose the content for marketing and sales. Don't be the best kept secret. Get ready to play an A game and be the authority in your field. Go to WeHelpYouThrive.com and click on the authority package to get yours today.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve. I'm here today with Rock Thomas, and we are talking to you about mentoring and accountability, about how it is that we can find people who will help us take our business to a whole new level. Where can we get training from? Where can we get knowledge from? Where can we get experience from? And I really hope that you got your pen and your paper out and you're taking some notes as we take you through this journey and help you discover some ways that you can have mentoring and accountability in your life. So let's talk in more detail about this. You mentioned basically 2 sides of the same equation, I think, at least would be a good way of saying it. On the one side, you have mentoring, somebody that is, obviously further down the road than you that can teach you and train you and take you further. And then the other part of it is you have accountability, masterminds, and things like that. People that are kindred spirits with you that are growing alongside of you. Can you talk about those 2 in more detail for us?
Yeah. We have a saying in our tribe, Go Abundance, we say we don't apologize for being awesome. And what we really mean is the Merriam-Williamson, kind of quote about most people play small because they don't want to make people feel bad. And we remind people that it's really our dharma and our obligation to celebrate our wins and to talk about them so people can learn from them and celebrate them. There's an old saying, Hawaiian saying called huna, which means bless that which you wish to receive. So if you see another successful person and you feel jealous or you feel resentful, chances are that you'll repel that versus attract it. So we celebrate the success with the people in our tribe and what they've accomplished and we learn from it. And by the way, one of the greatest gifts you can give people is an audience, is to listen with care. So when somebody gets to tell you about business deal they put together or something they're very proud of, and you genuinely listen and you express reflect back to them with attention, then definitely it's something that boosts people up. The second thing is that accountability. I think we live in a society with very little accountability overall, from the government all the way down. So culturally, it's not something that people, really are used to, if I could say that. So we have high standards when it comes to that. We share our income, we share our passive income, we share we have a little fit test that people do from time to time in order to feel that they're on track of progress physically. And then when people set goals with each other, we ask them when they want to achieve them, and then we follow up with them. And there's something about positive peer pressure, Steve, that gives you a higher level of desire to do something. Yeah, we all want to work out 3 times a week in the gym, but if you've got 10 people that you're reporting back to, and you're all going to run a 5K together in 45 days, you tend to behave differently. And that's a little bit the benefits of being part of a mastermind group.
Yeah, I think of the mastermind group that I was in January of 2015, and it was really fun to watch each of us, although our businesses were so different, each of us, kind of begin to shine with our own unique brilliance.
Yeah, it's really, and you get to be authentic, you get to bring what you bring to the table, and at the end of the day, so many people are just trying to fit into the world versus stand out by being themselves, that if you created that in that environment, that's awesome, and that's what we strive to create as well.
Well, and the other thing that we really found in that group, and I think is missing in a lot of our lives, is a place that you can really, you can be authentic to the place where you can be vulnerable, and you can say, hey, you know what? I really feel like a fraud in this area. And then others can talk and say, hey, I've been through that too.
Yeah, vulnerability and authenticity is something that is also lacking in our society. And first of all, you have to create a space where people feel safe, where they're not going to be judged, they're not going to be criticized, they're not going to be laughed at. So we do that, and then people open up, and as people open up, other people open up, and that's where you get the real juice, is when somebody says, you know what, I lost $1 million in the stock market, 4 years ago, and I had to sell my house and get back to basics, but I'm back now, and I'm pretty proud. I got these 2 businesses, and I do an online thing here, or I do a podcast like you do. That 10 years ago, those were not very popular. Today, they're a really cool way for all of us to get educated.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's so important to be able to share, but then also have somebody that will hold you accountable to both the things that you committed to as well as the things you committed to not do.
Yeah. Well, there's 2 lists, right? There's the habits that you want to keep on doing and add to, and then there's the habits that you no longer want to be doing. Sometimes those are harder than the other ones. So I would say replace one habit with another one. But for sure, and I think all of us want to belong, and if you can find a community that shares similar values, and you can group together and you can help each other. A lot of us have ended up doing business transactions together, or if I travel to a city and one of my GoBundance brothers is there, I can go out for a quality meal or maybe stay at his place versus, another hotel room and another hotel dinner on my own.
Yeah, I really like that. So explain to people who this is a new concept for them. What is the difference between having a mentor and having a mastermind group?
Well, a mastermind group is a group of individuals that have common values that will get together. In our case, anyway, we base ours on adventure. So we have an event coming up in Lake Tahoe, 4 days, where we go skiing in the mornings. But we start the day off always with a meditation and yoga, and then a healthy breakfast, go play for 4 to 6 hours, and then we get together after an hour or 2 of a little break to mastermind in the evening on 5 things. In our case is passive income, or what we call horizontal income. Put your money to work for you, because there's a lot of people, Steve, that make good money, but they spend it all, and they're basically stuck in a trap. And we're big on getting people to time freedom, stop having to trade your time for money. So we focus on that. A lot of us are big in real estate. We have some stock guys, et cetera. The second thing is age-defying health. So we'll bring in speakers. It could be anywhere from a local juicing person to a David Wolf, raw foodist kind of guy that will come in and raise the level of awareness around what are you doing with your body and how are you treating it. Then we go into talking about authentic relationships. So we might focus on the 5 love languages or on David Data's work or whatever. We'll also talk about what we're going to do for charity. So this September, we went to Peru, and we sent a bunch of money in advance, and we built some mud stoves, and went to a school and gave them some money and bought them some toys and stuff like that, and played with 150 kids in the schoolyard. So we have our charity piece that we do as well. And then, of course, you wrap all that up with a ton of adventure. So this year we're going to Vietnam. We got Lake Tahoe. We got Robert Herjavec coming in. The ladies are headed to Mexico for their event, and then we'll be back at Lake Tahoe in May. So we're really taking what we think are the main values that we have, and then spending time talking about the different strategies and sharing them, and hanging out and creating the connections. And it ends up being one of the most beautiful experiences I've had. So to me, that's the mastermind, is where you bring in really smart people, smarter than you, and you bring in people that share like values. The mentor is when you have one individual that's excelled in an arena that you want. Let's say you want to open up, beauty salons. Find the person who's killed it there, and find out if they're going to, assist you in the path that they've already beaten down. Why learn from scratch when they can tell you tiny little things? I'm in real estate, and I just had an agent sitting in my office this morning, and she goes, I finally realized that there's some homes I should never put on the market. They wasted my time last year. And I said, that's something that you're ready to hear now, but you weren't ready to hear a year ago. So that's what mentoring does, is that if you're open and you're coachable, you'll accelerate your path. But it's more of a one-on-one thing, Steve.
Are you open? Are you coachable? Do you have somebody that you have invited into your life to help pour into you and show you the places where, hey, you're missing it, or where you can do better, where you can grow faster, where you can know more, and then you can do more? Because as the saying goes, when you know better, you can do better. I really encourage every single one of you, if you don't have a mentor, go get one. And if you do have a mentor, take a minute today and thank them for all that they're pouring into your life. We'll be right back after these messages here on Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is the EWN Radio Network.
Hi, I'm Sandra Yancey, founder and CEO of eWomen Network. One of my mottos for business owners is, you can't do it alone. Whether you're in the startup stage of your business or you're scaling, you can't grow without relationships to provide support, wisdom, and new customers. eWomen Network is your home to connect with other women entrepreneurs who've been where you are or are experiencing the same challenges. We have chapters across the U.S. and Canada that have monthly events featuring our trademarked process called Accelerated Networking to ensure you get the contacts, resources, and leads you need to grow your business. And once you become a member, you get many benefits, including 2 one-on-one coaching sessions, unlimited access to our membership database, your own personal profile page, and discounts on products and services with our business partners such as UPS and American Express Open. Join the eWomen Network community and let us help you live your dream. For details, visit eWomenNetwork.com.
Are you ready to be a celebrity expert in your field? Are you your own best-kept secret? Do you have talents you want to share with the world? Are you ready to be seen as an authority? Do you have a message you need to share with the world? You know to your core you can help people if you could just reach them. Kathy and I want to help you share your unique brilliance with the world. Are you ready for this? How would you like to be recognized on top media outlets? What would becoming an Amazon bestseller do for your business? How many people could you inspire? And it doesn't take a lifetime. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take months. In fact, in just 60 minutes, you will become a celebrity expert in your field. In 30 days, you will be a best-selling author, and you will be seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox, and the Wall Street Journal. How does this work? Well, you'll be interviewed on our show, Thriving Entrepreneur, which will then be broadcast on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, Stitcher, and many others, as well as promoted to a network that has a database of over 500,000 people. Your expert interview will be published in your very own book, which is guaranteed to hit best-selling author status on Amazon. Your name and the book title will appear in major media outlets, including ABC, NBC, Fox, CNN. We can guarantee that. Plus, as a bonus, you'll get a custom social media package to promote your book and an MP3 of your interview with 5 key tips on how you can repurpose the content for marketing and sales. Don't be the best kept secret. Get ready to play an A game and be the authority in your field. Go to WeHelpYouThrive.com and click on the authority package to get yours today.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve, and I'm here with Rob Thomas, and we are talking to you today about mentoring and accountability. So the question we asked right before the break was, how many of you have a mentor? And I even encouraged you that if you do have a mentor, take a minute to tell them how grateful you are for them. In addition to that, how many of you are part of an effective mastermind? And I do use that word specifically because it does need to be an effective mastermind, not just a place where you get together and everybody drinks coffee or, whatever you drink, and, they all pool their ignorance and nobody goes anywhere with it, but a place where a person can say, what worked for me? And they can do that. And also a place where your peers, your friends, the people that are in your mastermind can really hold you accountable to the things that you said you're going to do, and will love you enough to be able to say to you, hey, you committed to this group that you were going to do X, Y, and Z, and you haven't done it. We need that in our lives. We need the pressure, if you will, of accountability, not because we need to stress out or any of those kind of things, but simply because as human beings, we need things that hold us accountable to our actions. Well, let's look at it from the other direction then. There are so many people that are still going it alone. They're not part of a mastermind. They don't have a mentor. Why do you think it is? Why are we so resistant to the help?
A couple of reasons. I do a lot of coaching, and I think that a lot of people don't think they need to invest in that. They figure that they can figure it out on their own. Google has all the information. It's just about execution, when really it's about being strategic and being held accountable. Number two is people really do not want to be held accountable. It's like if you agree to go to the gym 3 times a week, or if you agree you're going to make 50 calls in a week, or whatever you're going to do, that conjures up pain in their brain, because what if they don't feel like doing it that day and they got to report back? So people are looking for, our brains are designed to protect us and to deliver to us the least painful experience. So people associate pain with being held accountable. And like you said before, this authentic, vulnerable side, a lot of people don't want to be authentic and vulnerable. They'd rather be right than rich.
So why then? I mean, I can sense it while people are out there listening. They're like, well, yeah, but I can, go to Amazon and get free books from, greats like Robert Herjavec and Lisa Nichols and people like that. I can go to YouTube and I can watch videos for the next 10 hours and get all the training I need. You know, why do we always make that excuse rather than realizing the impact of actually having an actual physical person that's invested directly in you?
Well, I think the question is, how's that working for you? If it's working for you and you're on your path and you're happy, you're fulfilled, you're progressing, because progress is very associated with happiness, and your business is growing and you got a great personal life and you are genuinely happy, which you will be probably 1% of the 1%, because most people are miserable, they're overweight, they're obese, they're depressed, they're on drugs, they're on antidepressants. You just have to look at the statistics to know that most people are lying to say that they're really happy and fulfilled. But let's say you're that person, then great, stay on that path. Maybe you can come and coach me or tell me a couple of things that should be changing. But most people aren't where they want. The problem is that they numb themselves, Steve, with distractions of TV or a few glasses of wine at the end of the day, or they rationalize and justify that next year is going to be better. They give themselves softeners. So they're really not committed to their success and to making a difference, a big difference in their company or planet. They're just trying to get by and be comfortable. And that's why people don't do it until wham, something comes along and wakes you up and you get divorced, somebody leaves you, or you go to your doctor's office and they say you need to start to work your fat behind out, otherwise you're going to die of a heart attack. And that's when people make the shift. I have 4 or 5 or 6 coaches. I have them in different areas. I have a spiritual coach, and I have a coach for workout, and I have a business coach, and I have an emotional coach, because I appreciate that each one of those components are vastly important. But I can also say that I've opened up 7 new streams of income in the last 2.5 years. I have 16 of them. So it just depends on what you want, how passionate you are about it, and if you really have a vision for your future. And you'll know as soon as you cast that vision what parts are missing and where you need to go get help. And ask, and it shall be given.
Well, and I always encourage people, what can you do now? It's so sad and yet so common that the story goes something like, and then I had to lose everything, and that's when I finally got really motivated, or that's when I finally discovered my system, or what have you.
Yeah, well, like I said before, people are trying to, tiptoe their way to death without fully living. They want to be safe. And the reptilian part of our brain is the part, unfortunately for most people, that runs their life. The basic fight or flight. It's like the always looking what can happen. What if that happens? What if that fails? And even if you don't have money, you're thinking, what if I fail? When you make money, what do? You think, what if I lose it? I better be cautious. I better be careful. My brand new car, what if they scrape it? I got to park way over there. So they're overworked on trying to just survive and just get by, versus if you think when most people are happiest is when they were working out of a garage. They didn't have much. They were eating lunch on the side of their desk, and they were in the throes of building something. And they'll look back on that as the best of times. But once we get into this middle lane comfort zone of life, it's very hypnotic and it's very dangerous. And most people, let's face it, the worst thing they can do is, I can't afford to go out to the show tonight, so I'll stay home and I'll watch the 17,000 channels I have, or go online. It's like we're not really suffering that much, Steve. So most people don't change.
How bad do you need to suffer before you're willing to do something to make your life so much better?
Yeah, well, that's a great question, and it's different for everybody, and it really has to do with your, how you grew up. I grew up on a farm and I got beaten up by my brother, and I asked my father to protect me, and he said, no, if I protect you now, I'll have to protect you for the rest of your life. And I remember the moment. I remember at that time deciding that I would become very successful. Anytime that I'm, threatened in a sports environment and it brings me back to that pattern, I become extremely powerful and productive. So everybody has their pattern. I have a high threshold for pain, but a low threshold for mediocrity. So therefore I'm an achiever, which is really great. On the other hand, it's a little more difficult for me to relax, go on vacation. And I'm not the type of person that can sit there on the chair for 10 hours and read a book. I'll do 45 minutes, but I got to run, I got to play, I got to move, I got to create something, I got to build something. So it really is different for everybody, and that's an inside job, and that's what I'm fascinated with.
You remind me of when I was little, because being the youngest of three boys, I was always littler than them, and that transition where you're like, that's okay. Someday when I'm bigger, you're going to work for me.
Well, you want to laugh, Steve? My brother worked for me for 10 years. I owned the real estate company. He was the real estate agent in it. So while I owned it for the 10 years and then I sold it, he's still there. And I've gone on and written books and traveled the world and have mastermind groups and opened up 3 more companies. And he's still in the exact same spot, the exact same agent. He hasn't left the town we grew up in. And so some people just, they like I said, they want their little thing. And yeah, he does better than average. He makes maybe $150,000 a year, and just kind of plods along. Meanwhile, I've had a lot of opportunity to do a lot of things, and I trained for Tony Robbins and traveled around the world with him, worked out with him in his place in Fiji, and so on and so forth.
That's awesome. So, which one of those 2 brothers do you want to be? Do you want to be the brother who has had the phenomenal opportunities to work with folks like Tony Robbins and many other successful entrepreneurs? Or do you want to be the brother who's, making an okay living, but is just kind of living day to day, paycheck to paycheck, life to life, without any amazing experiences? It's not to say that a person can't be very, very happy at whatever income level. I mentioned at the beginning, Abundance Now. Lisa points out that abundance is whatever you define abundance as. And so I'm not saying it as a critique of a person's particular financial or life situation, but the question becomes, do you feel like you are living amazing opportunities and an amazing life, or are you settling for just okay? Whichever answer you come up with that, I encourage you to either live the best life you can every moment of every day, or to be able to really truly make the change that will allow you to live your best life every moment of every day. We'll be right back on Thriving Entrepreneur.
Hi, I'm Sandra Yancey, founder and CEO of eWomen Network. One of my mottos for business owners is, you can't do it alone. Whether you're in the startup stage of your business or you're scaling, you can't grow without relationships to provide support, wisdom, and new customers. eWomen Network is your home to connect with other women entrepreneurs who've been where you are or are experiencing the same challenges. We have chapters across the U.S. and Canada that have monthly events featuring our trademarked process called Accelerated Networking to ensure you get the contacts, resources, and leads you need to grow your business. And once you become a member, you get many benefits, including 2 one-on-one coaching sessions, unlimited access to our membership database, your own personal profile page, and discounts on products and services with our business partners such as UPS and American Express Open. Join the eWomen Network community and let us help you live your dream. For details, visit eWomenNetwork.com.
Are you ready to be a celebrity expert in your field? Are you your own best-kept secret? Do you have talents you want to share with the world? Are you ready to be seen as an authority? Do you have a message you need to share with the world? You know to your core you can help people if you could just reach them. Kathy and I want to help you share your unique brilliance with the world. Are you ready for this? How would you like to be recognized on top media outlets? What would becoming an Amazon bestseller do for your business? How many people could you inspire? And it doesn't take a lifetime. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take months. In fact, in just 60 minutes, you will become a celebrity expert in your field. In 30 days, you will be a best-selling author, and you will be seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox, and the Wall Street Journal. How does this work? Well, you'll be interviewed on our show, Thriving Entrepreneur, which will then be broadcast on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, Stitcher, and many others, as well as promoted to a network that has a database of over 500,000 people. Your expert interview will be published in your very own book, which is guaranteed to hit best-selling author status on Amazon. Your name and the book title will appear in major media outlets, including ABC, NBC, Fox, CNN. We can guarantee that. Plus, as a bonus, you'll get a custom social media package to promote your book and an MP3 of your interview with 5 key tips on how you can repurpose the content for marketing and sales. Don't be the best kept secret. Get ready to play an A game and be the authority in your field. Go to WeHelpYouThrive.com and click on the authority package to get yours today.
Welcome back to Thriving Entrepreneur.
This is Steve, and I'm here with Rock Thomas. We are talking to you today about mentoring and accountability. Do you have somebody and a group of somebodies in your life that are pouring into you and making you, your life, and your business better? Well, Rock, I know there are some people out there that are like, okay, I'm ready. I want to be part of a mastermind. I need some mentoring. What could a person do to be able to engage and go deeper with you?
Well, you know what? I guess the first thing is they can go to our site, GoAbundance.com. That's G-O-Abundance. That's abundance without the A, GoAbundance.com. They can look at the site and fill out the form there. They could email me at rock@rockthomas.com. That's TH. And we'll be happy to answer any questions they have or set up any appointments. And they can go also to inside the M number, not number one, .com, inside the M1.com, and that's where we mentor people to become millionaires. If that's something that people want to do, we march them to $1 million. M1 stands for March to $1 Million, and we help people become millionaires, not just financially, but in the other areas of their life too. And that's a program we're pretty excited about because we're getting incredible results. So that would be, I'd say, what they could do, and we could get into conversation and see if there's a fit, and then see if we can continue to grow and change the world.
I like that. Well, and it's really important. So for those of you who didn't catch it, that's GoBundance.com, GoBundance.com. And you can engage with Rock and start thinking about and learning how you too could be a millionaire. Well, Rock, we want to leave people with something specific that they can do, like today, that they could start doing. What would be the number one thing that a person could start doing right now to really embrace abundance and get the help and accountability that they need?
Well, I'm going to make it really, really simple because I believe that simple is doable and complicated is sexy, but, it's not doable. So I'm going to say that if people would just practice saying thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. When you get caught up, when you're upset, if somebody's angry at you, add to it as they're speaking to you inside your own mind. Go into a mantra of I love you, thank you, I love you, thank you. It's from Pono, which is a long story. I won't get into it, but it's a very powerful mantra that actually releases some of the blocked energy within us and within others. And I've used it to great degree. And I'd say that once you start to be grateful for what you have, you allow yourself to be attracted to other opportunities, and you'll feel much more grounded and peaceful than this hurried kind of anxious world we tend to live in. So I'd say that's the simplest, most powerful tool right off the top of my head that I'd leave with.
You immediately made me think of Og Mandino's book, The Greatest Salesman in the World, where he talks about, I will face this day with love in my heart, and I will reach out to everyone that I reach and say to them in my heart, I love you. I mean, it's kind of the core of how we can really, truly relate to people.
It's what we all want, Steve, at the end of the day. We use business as a vehicle to pump ourselves up to feel good. But if we would just get back down to basics, we just want to be loving, be loved, smile, laugh, play. We've lost the child in us. And I think we're headed for a time when we need more people like you that are providing a vehicle for people to get access to the kinds of tools that can make a difference and get us out of the pain that we're in and the addictions that everybody has and move them toward a more holistic, well-being life.
It's so important that we embrace the best version of ourselves and the possibilities in others.
Yeah, and when you actually criticize or judge others, your unconscious mind doesn't know the difference. So it is criticized. So if you say, "Oh my God, I hate that person, they're XYZ," your unconscious mind interprets that as you hate yourself because you're overweight or rich or whatever. So the practice of being loving to others is actually the practice of being loving to yourself. And that's something that, most of us, if we talk to ourselves, if we talk to our friends the way we talk to ourselves, we have no friends. So I would say to people, if you have a dog and you know how kind you are to that dog, start talking to yourself like you're the dog, and you'll see how much kinder you'll be to yourself, and stop beating yourself up and stop judging yourself and do the same for others, and you'll be in a better place.
I love that. Yeah, I used to always tell my kids, and I'm sure that if any of them were listening right now, they'd be rolling their eyes at the thought of it. But I used to always tell them, it's like, no, you treat your brother, you treat your sister that way because it's you practicing being the best version of yourself. It's not about them, it's about you.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And, you show up 100% at one job. You're just preparing yourself to be the kind of person that shows up 100% for the next job. If you are in a job and you go, I don't really like this job, I'll give it 80%. Well, guess what? It's going to be harder to give 100% to the next job, even though you think you will, because you're going to say you're going to like it. It's about creating the habit, and that's kind of what you do with your kids, so I really like that.
Yeah, a good friend of mine, many years ago, he said to me, practice does not make perfect. And I was like, well, yeah, it does. That's the phrase everybody uses. He was like, no. He goes, because if you practice doing the wrong thing over and over again, he goes, you're not going to get any better at it.
Yeah, we like to say practice makes permanent.
Yeah.
So if you practice poorly, you will permanently be poor at whatever you're practicing.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Rock, I really appreciate you taking the time today to pour into us and to inspire us to, really embrace the people around us and find people that can continue on with us in the journey, both the folks that are ahead of us as well as the people that are right alongside of us making this journey together.
Well, it's a pleasure to be on your show, Steve, and great success to you going forward, buddy.
I appreciate that. And remember, you can go to GoBundance.com and find out more from Rock.
Thank you.
I encourage many of you need to go out and you need abundance in your life. And if GoBundance.com can help you with that, I really, really do hope that you'll check it out. It was so great to be able to really discuss with you the importance and the need that we have in our lives for mentoring, for masterminds, for accountability, for people who are on the journey with us and are helping us live our best lives and be the best version, the most thriving entrepreneur we can be, as well as people that are 2 steps, 5 steps, 10 steps ahead of us that are mentoring us and can look back and say, there's a pothole right there on the road. And if you will watch, you can avoid the ditches that I went off into. And, we don't have to take the advice of other people, but we also don't have to continue and duplicate the mistakes that people who would love to share with us what they've learned will willingly and gladly pour into our lives. So I really do hope that you will take a look at the overall continuing education, if you will. That's what they would call it in medical industry, things like that, and put into your plan. I will have a plan for a mentor in my life, for a coach that is going to lead and guide me, for advisors that are people who, I'm not paying them as a coach, but simply they have earned my respect, and I'm giving them the right to advise me and the direction of my company. And, of course, lastly, a group of peers that you can get together with, and an iron can sharpen iron, and all of you can become better because of your time together. One of the things that we do this show for is because Kathy and I believe so much in you, and we are here to help you do anything that we can do to live your life as a thriving entrepreneur. We believe in you, and we want to share you with the world because, as I tell you every week, you are uniquely brilliant. You were created for a purpose, and the world needs you. They don't need your imitation of somebody else, your best impression of whomever you strive to be like. What they need is 100% fully, absolutely the best version of you. And Kathy and I are here every day to help you live your life as a thriving entrepreneur. We'll be back with you next time. Until then, have a great week.
Thanks for listening to Thriving Entrepreneur today. If you want to get your question answered, send an email to questions@wehelpyouthrive.com. We look forward to you joining us again next time.
Are you ready to be a celebrity expert in your field? Are you your own best-kept secret? Do you have talents you want to share with the world? Are you ready to be seen as an authority? Do you have a message you need to share with the world? You know to your core you can help people if you could just reach them. Kathy and I want to help you share your unique brilliance with the world. Are you ready for this? How would you like to be recognized on top media outlets? What would becoming an Amazon bestseller do for your business? How many people could you inspire? And it doesn't take a lifetime. It doesn't take years. It doesn't take months. In fact, in just 60 minutes, you will become a celebrity expert in your field. In 30 days, you will be a best-selling author, and you will be seen on NBC, CBS, ABC, CNN, Fox, and the Wall Street Journal. How does this work? Well, you'll be interviewed on our show, Thriving Entrepreneur, which will then be broadcast on Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, Stitcher, and many others, as well as promoted to a network that has a database of over 500,000 people. Your expert interview will be published in your very own book, which is guaranteed to hit best-selling author status on Amazon. Your name and the book title will appear in major media outlets, including ABC, NBC, Fox, CNN. We can guarantee that. Plus, as a bonus, you'll get a custom social media package to promote your book and an MP3 of your interview with 5 key tips on how you can repurpose the content for marketing and sales. Don't be the best kept secret. Get ready to play an A game and be the authority in your field. Go to wehelpyouthrive.com and click on the authority package to get yours today.